Okay, so I have been a mom and an educator for a long time, and I've just really been thinking the last few weeks as I see my own kids and kids at school and kids in the community. All they talk about is STAR, 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 a stupid test, not a star in the sky, a test. They're talking about STAR. They're counting down until the star's given. They're talking about strategies, which is great. I mean, they do need to know their strategies. They need to do well on the test. They need to try their best. It's important. It's important. All tests are important. I mean, I'm a diagnostician. I give tests for a living, but I make sure my kids aren't stressed about them. So that's another talk. So I just see this whole community, parents included, teachers included, everyone is just on edge. Like no one is acting like they're themselves the last few weeks, and it's because of STAR, and it's just not worth it. So I just started thinking, I can be kind of creative. So what can we do to help lawmakers really understand the impact that STAR has on our entire community? So I came up with kind of a similar test for them. Not really a test, it's kind of more of an idea kind of person. But I did name it, okay? Because we have STAR for the STAR test, it's 2 A's. I'm really trying to be positive because I am an educator and leader in the community, and I'm trying to be positive. So I have this fabulous test for the lawmakers who make the STAR, okay? Because I kind of doubt they really know what they're doing. So the test that I would like to give them is called the LAME test. LAME. Lawmakers Assessment of Meaningful Education. Okay, and so I'm thinking, if a few of us could get together and get some activities and things for them to do that really, really show them what education is really about, and show them the stress that a test can do, like what the stress of a test can do to your body and your family and your children they're children and they're stressed about a stupid test. I didn't even know, like when I took tests 200 years ago, I was like excited because we didn't have to do class that day. Like I was like, cool, it's like TOS test and we can just have snacks and chill and just take, and now, they stress about it all year long from day one. So it needs to change. So the LAME test, here are just some things that I would like to include in the LAME test. Okay, so first of all, in September, we're going to start talking about the LAME test. We are going to beat it into their heads and we're going to talk about it the first time we meet those lawmakers. Every day. We're going to send emails. We're going to talk about it, how important it is, but don't stress about it. We don't want you to stress about it, but we're going to talk about it every day. And we don't want, any of their bosses to stress about it either, but we are going to talk about it every day. So the things that we're going to cover in this test include some vocabulary, okay? Because vocabulary is important. That's definitely a need in education. So I'm talking about vocabulary that teachers need to know, okay? Not just content vocabulary. I'm talking, it's important to be able to relate to your students. You cannot teach students unless you can relate to them, unless you have a good relationship with them. These are things that a STAR test can't really show, okay? And these are actually the things that make, the lifetime impact on kids. So, vocabulary is just a starting point, okay? They're going to have to identify some slang terms that our students are using, like OMG, chillax, swag, epic, hashtag, PAP. Not too fond of that one. What's it called? I have my notes over here. Post a pic. That's not what PAP means in my brain, but okay. Lit, totes. They're going to have to identify all these kinds of terms that we all know. We know because we know our kids, okay? But they don't know that. So they're going to need to know the latest fidget research, okay? Fidgets are a thing. They're real, they're needed. Toys are not fidgets, spinners are not fidgets. They're going to need to know the difference in what a fidget is and what a toy is. And they're going to need to be able to support that with research, because those parents are tough. I'm one of them. Fidgets are important, but toys are not. So, not in class. So included in that reading and writing portion, they're going to have questions about boundaries. They're going to have questions about ways to handle meltdowns in class. What do you do? What do you do when a student calls you a 4-letter word? What do you do when a student kicks you? What are you going to do? There are right answers to that question. Those questions. There are right answers. And most of our teachers know them because they've had to do it, all of them. Because the more we push our students that were in self-contained classes, the more we push them into gen ed classes, as we should for least restrictive environment, those gen ed teachers are having to deal with some serious issues from every level of student. So, our lawmakers are going to need to know how what the appropriate ways are to deal with those kinds of things, as well as how to differentiate. These lawmakers are going to have to answer questions, and they're actually going to have to, this part I did kind of design because I think it's really important, because I put a lot of accommodations in for kids. Preferential seating is not really one of my favorites, but I want lawmakers to have a seating chart of 29 kids, okay? 29 kids, and 24 of them have preferential seating. They got to figure out where to put those kids. Good luck. You're going to do great. You can do it. Don't stress. Okay. What else? Oh, acronyms. Yep, I bet you they don't know our education acronyms. ARD, IEP, ELL, 504, F&P, LLI, LRE, FIE, EL, I already said that, SI. I mean, we got them. And we know them. Our gen ed teachers know them. Our SPED teachers know them. Our administrators know them. I bet the lawmakers don't. Yeah. So, what else are they going to have to do? Oh, this is a good one. So another question, how are you going to, as a teacher, how are you going to minimize distractions for all those students that have ADHD or autism and things that really don't respond well to distractions? How are you going to minimize those distractions, but also provide means for alternate seating, fidgets, things to keep their hands busy, maybe letting kids sit on a big therapy ball or a beanbag or on the floor, or getting up and moving around, brain breaks? How are you gonna manage that? Because our teachers have to manage that every second of every day. So get the answer right, okay? But no pressure, no stress. It's gonna be okay. And if you don't pass, you just have to take it 3 times. We'll put you through some remedial courses and stuff, and no big deal. And I'm sure your self-esteem will be just fine. Okay. Man, people totally don't realize how much our teachers have self-control and patience, because I can guarantee you some of those lawmakers, if we put them in a classroom, and I love kids, I love them, and I love the kids that hit and bite and kick and scream and yell. When that's going on, I'm like, get me in there. I love those babies. So I get it, but I can guarantee you those lawmakers have no idea what to do with that. So they need to know. They want us to teach all this content stuff, which is important. But in order to do that, you have to deal with these other emotional issues. You have to deal with the students who are in counseling because of test anxiety. You have to deal with the students who haven't had a meal all weekend because they don't have money for that. You have to deal with students who are so stressed to go to lunch because there's too many people in there and it's too loud and it's too stressful, and so they eat with you in your classroom. And you don't ever have any downtime because students are always with you because you're a good teacher, and they love you and they feel safe with you. And lawmakers have no idea what that looks like. How are they going to handle a bully in the middle of class? How are they going to handle a student coming up to them before school and saying, hey, this is what happened over the weekend, and it's awful. It's an awful story. What are they going to do? Because you have to handle that. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a paraprofessional, whether you're an administrator, you have to know how to look that kid in the eye and deal with it effectively and still build trust. And so I don't think lawmakers really think about those things. It's not all about TEKS. I know TEKS are important. Obviously, we've got to teach our kids. But the STAAR test is not the end-all be-all. And we're treating it like it is. So for now, in my mind, in my imaginary world, the LAME is the end-all be-all. Okay? And if you don't pass the LAME, you don't get to be a legislator anymore. Okay? So that's like the reading, writing portion. Okay? Kind of mix it up a little bit. The math portion. I like this. So legislators are going to need to know accurately about how many hours of overtime teachers give, how many hours of overtime administrators give. You know, we don't work, oh, you teachers, you have such great hours and you have the summers off, and there's another self-control issue, because people say that to me and I want to throw punch them. I'm sorry, but I get paid for the 187 days or whatever that I'm supposed to work, and I don't get paid for the other days. They just spread it out over 12 months. But I do work over the summer. I have a whole list of things to do over the summer. And actually, I kind of added up my hours of how many hours I've worked from home this year. That's from home, not just staying late at work. And it's over 500. Over 500 hours of overtime. And I guarantee you, there's tons of people that have done the same. So I just gave away that answer. So that's a freebie. Let's see. Ooh, how much money? How much money, lawmakers, do you think teachers spend on supplies for their classroom? How much money? Supplies, decorations. Decorations, because you know what, that's important, because it needs to look like a home. Their classrooms need to look like homes. They need to look welcoming and warm and cozy and not like a hospital. So we spend a lot of money on that stuff. And supplies and pencils and all that stuff that kids just kind of lose, you know, and we get it, that's fine. We love it. We love school supplies. We love it. That's why we're teachers. But I think you should probably know how much we spend on that, because it's quite a bit. Let's see. How much money could we make in overtime? Not just how many hours, but how much money could we make if we were paid overtime like everybody else in the world? Teachers would be making a lot more money. What else for math? Oh, the number of students that have had to go to counseling just because of STAAR. Lots. Okay? The number of students who have to go to counseling because of just general test anxiety. We have so many kids with anxiety these days. How about the number of students that are on homebound because of anxiety? It's so sad. Our lawmakers have no idea. None. The number of times I've heard this year the word suicide. And if I've heard it, I know the teachers in my building have heard it, and the teachers in other buildings have heard it, and because I'm all over the district, but, whew, that's heavy. That goes way beyond STAAR. We're changing lives here. We're not just teaching content. So consider that, lawmakers. Yeah, so, and maybe some numbers on those fidgets. I think the research is important. I think you need to know some research on that. What else? I don't know. I just think the LAME needs to be put in place. I think lawmakers need to be held accountable, just like teachers do, and just like our poor students do. And I can guarantee you that once lawmakers take this LAME test, I love the name, that they start describing it with words like terrifying, awful, scary, evil, lame, stupid, terrifying. Terrifying is one I've heard several times for STAAR. These are all words that I've heard this week, just this week, about STAAR and how people feel about STAAR. And these are kids. And I would like for the lawmakers to understand that and feel it, because I don't think if they don't, they need to feel it to understand it. You do. So we're going to just go ahead and move forward with the LAME test, and maybe when they feel it, maybe things will change. That's all I can hope. Let's go LAME!